In the top left, game number 2, it is the red Protoss Liquid MaNa. In the bottom right, as the blue Zerg, it is Zanster. Still pretty surprised with how that game ended. I mean, that's kind of how, I guess, adept attacks work. Like, all of a sudden, it snowballed. But I really thought that Zanster had enough. MaNa just continuing to warp in, getting some decent trades by splitting his adepts so the banelings didn't all just completely demolish him. And it ended up working. Sometimes you see those attacks work instantly, like, you know, there's only lings available, and they don't get to surround on the early adepts, and it just gets overwhelmed, and that's like instant GG. Sometimes you see lings get a surround on the first 6 adepts, and the queen's on top of the warp prism, and then it's like, obviously game over for the Protoss. But to last that long and still be able to rack up as many kills as you needed, didn't see that coming. Persistence. Okay. I thought it was like it's not really weird to see an early probe nowadays, you know? Like, so while it's something that maybe I'll note because there's nothing else to talk about, like, oh, an early scout coming out from the probe, I didn't really think about it too much, but that is a forge coming along with that gateway, and MaNa's gonna try and block Zanster in with a cannon rush, supported by zealots, which, I mean, they have to make their way across the map if they want to support the cannon rush. They could also just stay at home and make sure no lings get by. Alright, that is defenses at home too. I hope that forge doesn't block the next. Like, I can't imagine that it does, but it's just like, it's a little suspicious, you know? a little suspicious. Alright, the hatchery only just now sees the cannons. A building hatchery has very limited scouting potential, vision, whatever you want to call it, and well, now that's done, at least they can try and build a queen. It's 2 cannons already. Zealot is making a way across the map. Zanster's gonna have a tough time trying to get lings outside of the cannons, if that is his plan, so if he wanted to leave and try and counterattack, you'd have to have like 10 lings plus. And now the hole's getting smaller. Spine claws are on the way, but I don't think that's going to be able to save... Well, it's definitely not going to be able to save hatchery, but I'm wondering if he's going to be able to break out of this. MaNa is already out on a 7X score. He's on his way to warp gates. He's actually going to get a Stargate as well. I wondered he was going to go with that. Uses the broodlings here along with the lings, but then decides maybe don't use the lings, so just runs by. If the spine crawlers take care of the cannons. But there are going to be units on the other side of the map. There's already a wall. MaNa not too greedy behind this. Still not on a nexus. So really not greedy behind this. 12 more lings are on the way. Speed is about 15 seconds from finishing. And maybe he will be able to bust down these pylons before warp gate becomes an issue. But it's sketchy. Spineclaws come forward, try and soak up the hits. The cannon's already on top of those lings once again. Maybe if the either the lings deal a lot of damage or the Spineclaw's root. Either way, this should be enough to deal with the cannons. Unfortunately, Queen goes down. Probably could have been microed. And Zanster has lost a hatchery. He's lost a hatchery. He's lost a couple of drones, having to build these spine crawlers. He didn't lose the spine crawlers, so it'll be helpful maybe at a later time. You can put them in the mineral lines if you get up to 3 bases. But his lings didn't do anything on the other side of the map. MaNa finally getting a nexus after a very long time. Stargate is producing a Void Ray of all things. That's going to be able to clear up Overlords and help against the lings just a little bit. I thought there was going to be an Oracle first. But Void Ray does, I guess, the job of Phoenix and the job of an Oracle defensively, at least. Not quite as good, but okay. 2 Overlords right off the bat. Zanster's already pretty strapped for cash, and he did just invest into a double expand, so that is sucky for him. Splat. Probe maybe thinking about doing something a little cheeky. Might just be scouting. I mean, MaNa, he could have tried to use, like, really held on to the cannons and the pylons and rushed up to Warp Gate with 3 gateways and tried to continue an attack, but he didn't. You know, went for the Stargate, went for the Nexus, even if it took a long time. and is playing what looks to be a macro game. And I wonder how this really is going to play out. I mean, Zanster spent so much trying to break out that even though he has 3 bases, he still is, you know, having a tough time catching up on the worker count. And while he has 3 spine crawlers, you know, that's not something he can attack with. So MaNa might be able to get to a 3rd base. Okay, times. And even defensively, these spine crawlers might not be enough if Zanster really took too much of a beating early game. Void Ray attacks the 3rd base. Oracle attacks the natural. Wants to take on a queen, but can't take on 2. So not too many drones lost. That pylon was placed down for that probe. So while it might be slow, or it might add a gateway on later, either way, that's not scouted. Zanster has lost his overlords. I mean, he only sent 2 out, but even if he sent more, they just died of the Void Ray. 4 drones in total. He's finally going to catch up in workers. He makes about 8 more. The Twilight Council is chronoing out that Resident Enclaves. There is a gateway added on. Still no 3rd base taken from MaNa. Zanster might be a little suspicious, but his Ling was just cleaned up. So he would need to scout again to confirm. Looks like he's just going to do that. This would both, yeah, I was going to say, scout the 3rd or not, and be able to cancel it. There's nothing to defend it. It's a very new Nexus, and MaNa should just... Yeah, there we go. He's got 100 minerals back. Queen melts. Ugh, graphic, though. And that is the 2nd Oracle. So 2 Oracles and a Void Ray. Can't be underestimated. He could definitely take out a couple of Queens. Ling successfully got a denial on the 3rd base, but it's not just about the 3rd base. This gateway has finished up, so we are at 4 gateways total. A lot of adepts coming in here. Zanster has just depended on scouting and a limited number of units to get him through this game, and it's going to really backfire. The spine crawlers aren't even in the mineral lines like they thought they might be placed. They're on the front lines, so one not even really helping. Gets like 2 shots off and then feels really lame. Main base entirely undefended. Spore crawlers are made for the oracles, but no spine crawlers. Oh, this one might help. Baliness is on the way finally, but Zanster just completely blindsided by this. MaNa could now go for a Nexus if he wanted to. We're just continuing to dedicate to the attack. Queen's going down. Spines finally rerouting themselves in the mineral lines, and I think it's a little bit too late. There are quite a number of queens. The Oracle shouldn't really ever be able to help out too much, and the 3rd base still lives. 13 drones go down. Oracles really want to get something done. Like, they're constantly looking for something to do, but they're just not barely able to find it. Hatchery goes down to the Oracle, so I guess they found something. Still only at 15 drone losses. Zanster's down by 7, which isn't too bad, but then he just lost another hatchery. He still isn't on lair, so even though he has banelings now, he won't have upgrades, he won't have baneling speed. And there we finally see more drones go down too. MaNa has a 3rd base, not quite halfway done, but it is protected in case Zanster tried to counterattack. And this is looking grim. Zanster not going to tap out, I guess, because his drone count is still above 20, which it was not last game. But it's not a great game for him. Finally gets a chance for most of his workers back, because it was oversaturated in the natural. But only 29 is not an impressive amount. Ling's looking for something to do. We're going to find a 3rd base almost done. Can't even kill that sentry. Gets a probe instead. So many adepts. So many adepts. That's not enough banelings. Stasis trap in the main base too. He did that last game. It was pretty clever. I don't think this many adepts cares about 5 or 6 banelings. GG. MaNa going up 2-0 pretty quickly. And off the back of a lot of adepts, both games. Though this one really started off with that cannon rush that Zanster just didn't expect to see. I mean, who does? Ugh. Gonna fit in a break while the 3rd lobby is set up. You guys didn't miss much. It's the potential last ZVP of this series on Abyssal Reef. In the bottom right is the red Zarrogate is Zanster. And top left is the Blue Protoss. It is MaNa. No Forge this time. Thank you once again for the bits. We had Gregnar come in and now Ice Wolfie. With the 300 bits? 300. Very nice. A little bit more health on that. Whoever is the bit boss at the end of my stream will get the portrait code. Definitely keep your eye on that. The winner of this will go on to face Bly, so we might have another PvZ or a rematch in ZVZ. So far looking like MaNa is pretty in favor though. Not just up 2-0, but in dominating fashion. Last game, Zanster just blindsided and then blindsided again with the proxy gateway. In the first game, didn't think it was going to work out. I thought Zanster had the tools necessary. But no, it snowballed, and then boom, Adepts. Adepts won. So I'm a little worried that Zanster, first of all, is getting a little angry at the Adepts. Tilted, maybe even. Although I can't imagine this guy being tilted. But then, just, you know, a little down on himself. Like, shit. I'm already down 2-0 again. He was in the first series of the day. Stargate is going to be on the way. Stalker was bothered to be produced, so going to be able to take care of that Overlord. I said bothered to be produced because, I mean, if you go for a Stargate, you're going to get a Void Ray or a Phoenix if you really want to kill the Overlord. So to see a Stalker produced instead of just another Adept is a little bit wonky. The tiniest little bit. That's not a wall. And I mean, it's not supposed to be a wall. It's not like I don't think MaNa was surprised by that, but I was surprised that's how the Lings went in. Why not go with the bigger wall? Whatever. Or the bigger opening. Stalker does help take care of the Lings, I think, a little bit better than Depths too, so that's another reason to get one. But this is, I don't know if this is really enough to be suspicious. I'm focusing a lot on a single Stalker, but sometimes I wonder. 2 more gateways, Oracle on the way, speed finishes up for Zanster. He did go for his third base as his natural, and his natural as his third. But everything going macro-wise for this guy. Nothing too suspicious yet. And the Ling did see the Oracle. Constantly clicked on the wrong guy here. Yeah. It did see the Stargate being produced. Second Oracle immediately on the way. You get Jimmy Jam Jars for the 200 bits. I swear my cheers are broken. The first one didn't even show. The bit boss has been lagging, I think, is what the problem is. So I think it's shown everyone at some point or another, but some longer than they're supposed to be. A lot of Lings are just made, but just in preparation of what should be an Adept attack with Oracles. I mean, 2 Oracles, 7 Adepts, 1 Oracle, 6 Adepts, like whatever. There's usually an Adept attack. And if there isn't, this might still be able to threaten the third base. And, you know, especially if it catches the Adepts just simply in transit. 4 Adepts up against a wall might be able to do a lot better. But surrounded like this, they need the help. 3 more Adepts come in here. Oracle has to come back as well. Does manage to take out all 4 of those Adepts that it's surrounded, but not able to really threaten the third base so much. So just Zanster going for more and more drones. +1, Baneling Nest. And MaNa not doing anything too suspicious still. Passes down with the natural. MaNa has 2 Oracles. They can definitely swoop in even with a Sword Crawler to get a couple of kills. Instant pull on the drones. Make sure that doesn't happen. The Queen's in position. Lings once again attack into that third base, but there's Adepts, and now there's even Pylons. So not going to happen. Phoenix being produced. Clear up, I guess, more Overlords. Now they're speedy. Forge, Robo, and Twilight Council. Oracle's going to be able to spot the 4th base. Maybe clean up some creep spread? Nah, gonna go for the 3rd. Yeah, a couple drones here and there. Nice number of Lings attacking that 3rd base. Stasis Trap is not gonna be noticed by Zanster, so ooh, it is pretty nice. A lot of drones stuck in that. And they don't go back to mining automatically, I do believe. So it's extra annoying. Ling's looking for a hole in the defenses. They can't kill the 3rd base with the SimCity and the Adepts here, but maybe a hole is left open in the natural. Finds a probe transfer. Instantly gets 2 probes killed. Finally does go back to mining. Resident Glaives. +1. Warp Prism. Single Robo. But this time he has gases, so I do wonder. He's gonna commit like he did on the Honor Grounds map that he played. Honor Grounds, he also had 6 gateways, but yeah, okay. So second Robo is on the way, and this might just be specifically to scare Zanster. You know, you see Warp Prism warp in 6 adepts at a time, and you get flashbacks to how you lost that first game of the day. If he really thought about it, I guess, then he might realize, like, oh no, wait a second, like he took 2 more gases, and okay, he wouldn't have seen the second Robo, but still like 2 more gases. Like, is he really all-in me or not? But the fear might be there anyways, at least initially. Upgrades are almost done. Phoenix has taken out the overloads that he's trying to. Oracle's still looking for something to do. The top side. Double Robo means double Immortal production. We have a Templar Archives already on the way as well, so maybe a very quick Storm. Phoenix not only looking for Overlords to kill, but also scouting what army is available. Oracle's going to that 4th base, but there's a Spore Crawler. Honestly, Zanster doesn't have super impressive army. He has no Banelings, which is a little bit shocking. I'd say that most Zergs make at least a handful just in cases, but not the case. So there really wasn't anything to be fooled with. The Warp Prism never went in. It barely even showed itself, and Zanster has had scouting on the 3rd base this entire time. So not only has he seen, like, you know, all the gases are taken, but he also saw, I think, the saturation that was there, which on the Honor Grounds game, if you remember, he barely had time to notice that the there's like only like 8 probes on the 3rd base, so no fooling this guy. The other 73 drones on 5 bases, is on his way to Hydras and upgrades, and MaNa not able to do a lot of damage. Not able to scare Zanster or take a lot of probes down with any of his units. 5 total have been lost. Constant bit cheering going back and forth. Pagan Hero once again reigns supreme, at least for now. Storm is already going to be done. I mean, this is a pretty quick Templar Archives follow-up. Lings, Hydras, Banelings galore, but if he has 4 Storms, then these things will die pretty quickly. Now, there might be an issue of just having not enough fodder on the ground. It's always a... Ooh, whoa. I'll talk about that in a second. Stage traps are also put down, so in case these High Templars have to retreat, they are caught by the backside, so the stage traps didn't work exactly like MaNa was hoping for. They get a couple of Storms off, and there's still 3 of them alive. One of them gets another Storm down, and the Lings are still in that stasis, but there might just be too many Hydras, not enough charge lots. Well, not charge lots at all, right? Because he went to Templar Archive so freaking quick. He only can warp in Resident Enclave Adepts. His Immortals barely live, but oh, canceled. No cancel? Okay, Adepts get into that 4th, 5th base, rather. Not a lot of drones to kill, but it successfully pulled Zanster back. I think that was a mistake. His Hydras could have stopped for 1 second and all shot, and that would have killed the Nexus. Alright, well that's a freebie. Those Adepts looked like it came from the Warp Prism. The initial 4 Adepts were picked up. Phoenix still alive. Did Oracles live? 1 Oracle lived, so maybe another Stasis Trap. Charge finally on the way. I mean, it's not that Adepts aren't good, or can't be good against Ling and Hydras. Obviously that's not the case, which is that charge lots usually complement that Storm much better. Bothering to break down the wall might seem fruitless, but if those Lings can go in, then that might just be the perfect distraction. Attacking at the 4th base, the Nexus still goes down, even though it lived a little bit longer than it should have. 10 probes already killed. This is where the Robos are, so that's very scary. And it is finally cleaned up, but the Mothership Core is also going to go down. It was +2 versus +2, but Zanster is now getting a Carapace upgrade, so he's going to be ahead. On his way to Hive as well. Pretty content with the damage that he did. Is not looking to over-dedicate, especially against Storms. That might be the wise move here. But now that we finally have room to breathe, thank you so much to Ice Wolfie, and then to Jimmy Jam Jars for 1,205 bits, and then 1,206 bits. Very nice. Charge is about to finish up. 2nd Oracle even. Yeah, 2nd Oracle. Wants to make sure he has Stasis Traps and Revelation, I guess. Fleet Beacon as well, as it is getting around that time. Oh, Space Shark. Oh, Jesus. It's getting around that time, you know? Like, okay, they backed off for now, so you think you have room to breathe, and if you read this wrong, if they really didn't back off and they're about to swarm you, then you might die. Or storms might be good. But if you read this wrong and over-defend and don't think about the future, then maybe Broodlords come in and you're not prepared at all. And while Broodlords sometimes look really, really, really weak, in fact, a lot of Zergs think they're laughably bad. If they're a surprise, they're a surprise, you know? And there's no blink to even try and deal with them with the ground units. Oh, Banelings rolled in over here. That ended up being a lot more important than whatever else happened over here. So 12 probes down to the overload drop. 17 probes down to the overload drops. Those Banelings do have +2, so all it takes is 1 Baneling per probe. Not too shabby, as MaNa's 4th base only just recently finished. His army is pretty damn sturdy. And he has those storms as Archons and has some mortals. But did he lose the storms? Or did he use them or did he lose them? I'm not sure. I can't tell by that. I don't know why I tried. He had like 3 attemplers with a lot of storms. They might have died. But these also might have been them, so hard to tell. Upgrades continuing to advance for both players. We even have +1 missile attacks on the way for the Roaches and Hydras. Or really just the Hydras, no Roaches. Greater Spire, but Tempest as well. Jeez, Cloud Shark. Get away. But yeah, the Tempests are on the way, so the Broodlords aren't going to be as much of a problem as they could have. The ground army is still very, very scary for Zanster. MaNa down 30 army supply, now 20 army supply, but with those storms, that might be easily changed. +3 attack also done. Coming from behind, however, looking for the High Templars. The Stasis Traps try and save them, but it's not going to happen, and MaNa gets absolutely sandwiched. No charge lets to come in here and help the Immortals that have now all the barriers popped and gone. MaNa, I mean, maybe Zanster backs off again, but MaNa just does not have enough of a bank. He had to rebuild all those probes. He lost that 4th base. This is too bad. He has 1 Tempest to his name. A little bit of a gas bank, so he's trying to warp in Archons, but he can't afford to lose another 4th base. GG. Zanster puts a point on the board once again, feeling pretty similar to the game, the series against Bly. But damn, thank you to Ice Wolfie. Bitch, please. 3,500 bits is now the bit boss. A bit of an update about the schedule of things. So after this group, there's another. Shocking, I know. And then the last 2 groups start at 8:30 CEST, which is 2:30 p.m. my time, which is 5 hours from now. I mathed. So 5 hours from now is really when Rifkin should be coming on to solo cast. But, you know, it's going to be awkward because maybe the second group goes really quickly or maybe it goes really long, and who knows. 4th map is Proxima Station, still potentially the last map of this series. The winner is going to face Bly in the decider match. See who actually gets out of this. Gumiho already getting ready for bed. See, he's already won 3-0s in both his series. The next group that is coming up, while we are waiting for everyone to join the lobby, is going to be Bly... No, hold on. That was here. Yeah, Kelazir was replaced, actually. I didn't really mention that. Or talk about that, but that's, I think it's what his answers here. They did it backwards. I don't know why they labeled the groups this way. Group C is up next. That's Sneeb, Snoots, Cyril, and Buell. Buell's going to be playing kind of late in Korea. Alrighty then. Game number 4. In the bottom left is the blue Zerg. It is Zanster. In the upper rights, up 2-1, it is the red Protoss Liquid MaNa. Where's Rifkin at? Rifkin comes in later. It's a long day of casting, and I think that I would prefer casting casually a solo cast for 6 to 7 hours more than I would prefer casting kind of seriously with a co-caster for 12 hours. But it's honestly hard to say, because then you can get like loopy together and you can start like just doing really stupid shit together, and you do have someone to fall back on if you know you have a coughing fit or just don't feel like talking. But it's interesting. I mean, otherwise we might have been able to do co-cast for 12 hours and just both, like, you know, really just powered through for an entire, like, 12 hours of a cast. Like other people are doing. I mean, the foreign casters are doing it, after all. But last time we did that, you know, we did it last time there was a Penthouse party. It was brutal. It was, like, it was not good. I don't even remember a lot of it, because I think I missed a day, so I did the other day or something like that. Or did I do it at all? I might be confusing this with another 12-hour cast we've done, because of course we've done DreamHack casts, and we've done the best of 69. But I know that Rifkin had to do an entire day, like, by himself, I think, and that was probably super bad for him. But the point is, 12-hour casts, whether it's DreamHack, Penthouse Party, IEM qualifiers, like whatever it is, it's super tiring, whether you're solo casting or duo casting. I'm really trying to remember if I cast the Penthouse party. What was the last one? Anyone know? I could actually look it up. I should probably have the brackets up anyways on Wikipedia, but I don't. Regular builds coming out here. Third base on the way for Zanster. And Stargate on the way for MaNa. A little bit of a peculiar place. It happened October 20th. It was 2 days? This was 3 days. Man, that was 2 days? Holy shit. Yeah, something was happening that day. So I didn't get the worst out of it. Anyways, that's in the past. It's been 7 months since the last one. And I'm here now. So third base very quickly put down for MaNa. MaNa had a cool little build last game. I mean, equally fast thirds, but I mean, I'm talking about the Resident Glaives attack that looked threatening, but then didn't even... Like, it looked threatening from my perspective as someone who was just like, well, this is what he might be thinking about doing. But the Zanster apparently wasn't threatening at all. The Warpers never came in, the Depths never let loose, and MaNa didn't even dedicate many warp-ins to it to even, like, really feign the attack. He really did just go into a second Robo, into, you know, Twilight Council or Templar Archives, and it was actually a gold opportunity for Zanster to macro, and that he did. Eventually overpowered MaNa. Stupid shit can definitely be fun. Ugh. Loopy casts sometimes are the best. But there's also something to be said about not just the effort exerted during the casts, whether you're solo casting for 6 hours or have a co-caster for 12 hours. It's also something to be said about just the use of the time, I suppose. Like, I like the idea of putting in a lot of work for a little bit shorter amount of time. Not a little bit shorter, like half the time. And as a reward, I guess, you get the day, you actually get hours to yourself, not casting. So Rifkin's sleeping right now, of course, as he should be, as he's still sick. And then I'll probably take a nap, and then I'll have the rest of the day to do whatever I want. So that's another aspect of why maybe solo casting can be sometimes better for these long, grueling casts. Because we really don't have a lot of these anymore. Some neat tricks happening in this game. We once again have Resident Glaives +1. Interesting. And Warp Prism. Okay, never mind. I thought maybe there was going to be another bit of a trick to this, but there isn't. So immediately into the Forge and the Temple Archives with only one Robo. So there is, like, it... With one Robo on the Not All Guys in Gas, I thought it was going to be a fake again, but it's just a halfway committal. So Warp Prism comes in here. Maybe this time it'll actually get some damage done. Maybe it'll just hover around like it did last game. Zanster's already trying to get to a 4th base. Creeps are going pretty well. Looking for an opportunity. Lings are already here. Not gonna work out. Double Forge! +1 armor already on the way. Warp Prism's caught. Not really, can't do anything. Gonna have to wait a while. Oracle successfully stopped this base from coming forth, but Zanster's probably still looking for it. He's got that mineral bank. MaNa, he's getting Storm, he's getting upgrades, holding off on that charge just like last game. And also getting his defenses ready for not just his 3rd base, but also to help him take the eventual 4th. Yeah, I was talking about how there just aren't many of these casts anymore. I mean, the DreamHack casts can still be very long, and in fact they were over the weekend, but it just was nice being at the event because the 30-minute breaks and the delays and all that. You know, you can get up and you go talk to your friends or watch some of their game or something like that. If you're stuck in your bedroom, really just waiting and more waiting, and then you can't really leave because you have to maybe come back immediately, like all that type of stuff. So there's DreamHack casts. IM qualifiers aren't really that much of a big deal anymore. And then, yeah, there's this. There's a couple of different reasons for that, and I don't want to like start throwing them out like it's like I'm complaining or anything like that. But there's a couple of reasons why they're rare. I guess anyone who thinks like, why not? They're fun. There's so much content. I love watching a bunch of StarCraft on weekends. I love back at MLG days where it was like super long days every day, and I was like, yeah, I agree. MLG had its moments, being 3 days of mostly just action-packed fun. But I think there's a lot to be said about caster fatigue, viewer fatigue, and player fatigue. I think this time they did a lot better job, though, considering the players. Because last time, the players were even a little confused about how long the tournament was going on and when they were supposed to play. Now, that aside, MaNa has the nice setup that Protosses want in front of that 3rd base to help protect their 4th. Warp Prism died? Nope, it lived. Got off to the left side, but is going to die soon. Very close. Wants to keep it alive, so just ditches the Adepts and moves on with his life. Lots of storms available. Stasis Trap's really cool to look at. Got some cannons as well. Still no charge, though. That seems like a mistake. I mean, last game he was late to it, right? But it seemed as he started to lose out on the battles, it seemed very obvious that he wished he had charge. So he got it as soon as he found the minerals and gas. But this game, still not getting it, and I'm hoping he's not forgetting. He is getting double forge this game, so maybe that's where the gas and minerals went into, but he's banking. Drops in the main base, Hydra drops from 3 Overlords. That's a lot to deal with, and MaNa's going to be very careful with how he splits his army. He's got a small army over here, he's got a small army over here. He's got most of his charge lot and Archons over here. Sorry, regular Zealots, no. The lack of charge is a mistake. It's got to be. Look how many Zealots he worked in. I don't know. While he has small armies in every location, they are very powerful armies. They got Storm, they got Stasis Traps. Love the Stasis Traps. And even some of them have cannons. More Hydra drops in that natural, however. Already cutting MaNa down to 54 probes is not terrible. Not at all. And 4 probes at a time. Can make that up very easily. But Mike at the Nexus, and that's a bigger problem. A lot of Storms still available. Stasis Traps still doing their jobs. Trying to, at the very least. Storms do hit a lot of those Hydras. The Hydras have no support. All the Lings and Banelings have been successfully trapped in stasis. But this army still doing a bit of damage. Probes, not being able to be reproduced And I just die for it. So 18 in total. Gone down. No mining in the main or natural. Now, getting back to pro production. Kept it at a stable 50. Stable, not great. Upgrades are finishing up as well for MaNa. He's going to have 3-2? No. Yeah, 3-2. He's going to have 3-2 to 2-1. He did get Blink. I mean, I saw him warp in Stalkers, of course, to help deal with the Overlords, but he did invest into Blink, but still no charge. I can still touch my head with that one. I mean, I said so many Zealots, not like he had 30, but he did have packs of Zealots every which way. With Blink, he'll be able to take care of the Overlord drops, and it's not like Blink Stalkers are a useless thing to have. Proxima, you know, almost a 12-minute game at this point. They also will be the first line of defense against Broodlords, although not the best line of defense. Volk unfortunately goes down after revelating the, getting Revelation off on the base, not the army. Ling's once again trying to attack this 4th base, stop it from mining, but there's not much mining there to begin with. Greater Spire is on the way. Hive finished up. Plus 3 melee weapons. Adrenal glands. A lot of stuff coming in here. MaNa feeling a bit confident. He's only down 10 army supply. Oh, shit. Jimmy Jam Jars. Finally dug into his pockets and now has the bit boss. Only 100 health, though. It's gonna be back to the scrappy battles, I see. Charge is finally on the way. Only after Resident Glaze and Blink. A lot more Stalkers. MaNa has been on 4 bases for a long time. Constantly cut down into an economy. Once again, being cut down, and so much for the 4 bases. I was going to talk about how I think he really would want a 5th by now, so that sucks. I was going to see if he saw the Hive. He did not. He has no idea the Hive is on. He has no idea the Rare Spire is done. The game has gone on for so long that I think there's some suspicion, just like the feeling of like, okay, the Zerg player, they've done a few attacks, but they haven't really overcommitted a dozen times, so yeah, Zanster definitely had the resources to go for that Greater Spire, and he might just be bringing back this series. MaNa gonna try and respond, but still no 4th base. And still no answer against the Broodlords. Last game, he at least was on his way to Tempest. So he just, you know, it was at the cost of a ground army because he didn't have the economy to sustain both at the same time. This game, he might have a really great ground army, but he doesn't have any air army. And Broodlords, Stalkers can only deal with them so well. Does take care of the rest of the Hydras. Didn't let them go off too long. This War Prism has been alive since the very beginning, basically. Thank you to Ash Nazai for the Twitch Prime sub. 10 Broodlords. MaNa is looking to secure this as a 5th base, I guess. But with these rocks that have been broken down so early on in the game, it's just really been a thorn in MaNa's side. He's going to take this opportunity to go through the south, which Zanster is not going to expect, I bet. But he has creeps right everywhere else, so eventually he's going to wonder where that army is. Oh, his army's already here. Never mind. Well, his Broodlords aren't. Nope, they are. Okay, well. Doesn't matter if he didn't expect the army coming in from the south. His army's still in position. Instant feedbacks on those queens, so no transfuses on the Broodlords. That is important as the Stalkers, they really only have 1 shot to blink underneath those Broodlords, and they're going to be destroyed by the Broodlings. Storms even tried to damage this Broodlords as much as possible. So maybe the Stalkers could have 1-shot a couple. You know, 7 or 8 at a time. But, now he doesn't have a lot of storms left over for the Banelings. He has 2 storms? Almost 2 storms left over for the Baneling Ling Hydra army. A lot of Broodlings. A lot of Broodlings. As I said, no real answer, and this is a scary number of Broodlords. 11 Broodlords. Even if you manage to cut it down to 6, you know, that's still a lot of Broodlings already sent out, and they have full upgrades. Well, they have the most important full upgrade, which is the attack. Phoenix is desperately coming back. Maybe they can get a few pot shots, but it's not a real hope here. MaNa is on a 4th base again, and that base is still healthy because it's died so often. That's not really a good thing, is it? Holy shit! Damn. Well, talk about that after this fight. Huge concave from MaNa, attacking from different angles, but just not enough. Not the right units, not enough of the worst units, and that's it. GG. Zanster ties up the series 2-2. But holy shit. We got the epic battle music coming in here because Wolfie Scrappy Battle? No. Kriegasm, 10,000 bits. At this point, even if you don't manage to keep that spot as the bit boss, I think we'd manage to find something to give to you anyways. Because that is a lot of cash, Ola. We really do appreciate it. I'm going to take a break. My voice is feeling a little scratchy, so be back as Game 5 is ready to go. Alright, it's the final game for sure now. It's tied up 2-2. In the bottom left is the Red Terran. It's Zanster. Nope, Red Zerg. Explain why I said that in a minute. In the bottom right is the Blue Protoss. It is Liquid MaNa. Yeah. They made the game about 40 seconds ago, but Zanster was Terran, so they had to remake. I'm not lying, I swear to God. It was a real thing that happened, but I also made a mistake. Thank you to people who are donating bits beyond that huge donation earlier on. MaNa was able to take a pretty clean 2-0 with a lot of the Adept power, but has not been able to replicate it. Well, he hasn't really tried to replicate it. Sure, he's gotten Adepts, and he's gotten Resonant Enclaves, but it's been this, you know, almost looks like that all in, but then transfers out into Double Robo, Immortal, High Templar. And it's like, I can see it working, but he's missing crucial elements to it in the last 2 games. Last game, I'm not sure it was so much that he was missing charge. That didn't seem to really be the main problem. It was more that he's just being pulled apart, which is like just kudos to Zanster. But certainly, the game before that, there was the, you know, the storms, there's no charge followed up, and then he just didn't have enough of an army. Tried to defend a base that he probably shouldn't have. Zanster has been winning in the macro games for good reason. He's had the better thought process and better out positioning map control than MaNa. Speed on the way. Stalker once again being chronoed out here. Talked about that in the Abyssal game, but it didn't really lead to anything too important. Looked at him not have free scouting though. That should be a little bit of uneasiness in Zanster's mind. Twilight Council thrown down in the back here. Let's see where that leads to. This could just lead to a DT drop. You know, simple and clean, regular macro builds. You just kind of want to hide it, but it could also lead to something a little bit scarier. And whether it's Resonant Enclaves or DT, the point is if Zanster wasn't able to scout it, then it could do more damage than it's supposed to. But while I have to click the wrong thing. The Stalker tries now to throw itself at the Overlord. It is missing from the front. An Adept is desperately being chrono, but the pylon might go down. He's trying to get a second one. I think the Adept's going to get out, but there's more than a handful of Lings on the way. They're not going to have speed for another like 20 seconds. So a golden opportunity that could have been capitalized on in a different universe, but not this one. That is a lot of Lings now. Not sure if this was Zanster's plan for the entire time, but maybe as soon as he saw that there was an opening, he makes a lot of Lings. They're not going to have any upgrades anytime soon, and in fact, there's no evolution chamber to even drop them. But the Lings are already in that base. They already get this around in that pylon. There's only one overcharge. It does a decent job because a couple of Lings. But Zanster has a lot more on the way. And MaNa is having a hell of a time getting production. He might have Resonant Enclaves on the way, but he's still only using one gateway. Even if this one finishes, that's only 2. You usually want 3. And Zanster might have just brought this back. MaNa desperately trying to wall off here. He has the minerals because he doesn't have the production. Problems all over the place, really. Look good now, but it's going to affect him later. Warp Gate's finally going to finish up. That is a wall. It doesn't look like it, but it is. This pylon's about to go down. More and more lings are on the way. A Dark Shrine is thrown down as well, as MaNa tries to continue with his macro while defending. Force Field's going to be available, but what in the hell do you Force Field? You try and save the Cybernetics Core, or at least stop that hole from going down. CC still goes down, and then these pylons are just a tap away from death, and there's not enough sentries. Pre-pulls the probes, looking for the block. He knows it's coming. The lings are actually funneling themselves into the sentries. There we go. Finally gets on top of the pylon. The gateway also goes down. Once again, back down at 1 gateway. A single zealot has been produced, but it's barely even helping. There we go. Finally now. Second zealot. My bad. They're buddies. They're going to try and hold the line, but it's not going to work out. Way too many lings. MaNa still has the probe lead, but he has nothing to warp in. A single zealot. 2 gateways in the back have finished up. This 1 gateway will be depowered, but maybe, just maybe. MaNa's still holding at 20 probes and 19 drones, but he has very few minerals, warps in a single DT. It's not going to be scouted, it can't be dealt with, but it can take care of the lings fast enough. In a blink of an eye, even as they're being microed, MaNa dips down to 16 probes. Zanster is on 3 bases and is starting to drone as well. Oh, the Nexus. He might be able to save the Nexus. Zanster's... Either way, he's going to get the Nexus or he's going to get probes. And MaNa is in... I think this is too much. By now, Zanster has responded to the Dark Shrine with Spore Crawlers. Down to 8 probes. I guess this game will go on for a little while longer. MaNa not willing to give up yet. He had the 2-0 lead. And is now about to lose the series overall. Doesn't feel good. Back on Zanster's side of the map, he is saturated in his main base for the most part. Natural. Third base going to get some drones soon enough. If MaNa had a single DT on the other side of the map, he probably would have killed a base already. But still at home defending. Desperation probably trying to kick in. Thank you to Yegs for the 14-month resub. This is all going on. Dad Nerd, Fear Dragon, a bunch of others still donating bits. Poking at the bit boss. Zanster had given MaNa maybe a brief bit of hope, as he didn't make any more lings for some time. But now he does make a lot of lings. Nexus goes down. And so do any hopes of MaNa to win this game. It's over. It is over. GG. Tough stuff there. So Zanster, despite being down 2-0 initially, brings it back and will now be rematching against Bly in the decider match against EVZ. I gotta get the vetoes done with, so it's gonna be a few minutes. Thanks for watching, everyone.